My experience with auditioning has been, you know, a little bit of everything. I've had my good and bad auditions, but I think the most important thing that I got out of auditioning is that, first of all, you need to try to connect as people, you know, and to try to find a balance as a group, and really try to listen to everybody. I always try to be very unselfish on the drum set, in a way that I try to listen to everybody else and try to accommodate everybody, and make everybody feel comfortable with what I'm playing. That way they loosen up and they open up, and then we can all work together. You know, because when you get to a room and you don't know the rest of the band, it could be very awkward, because then you don't know, you know, how they're gonna react about what you play, and if you don't know the music, or if you're sight reading, or whatever it is that the situation is. I've really had luck in my auditions that I haven't had to sight read much. I've had to do sight reading more in like specific shows that we don't have a lot of time, and all of a sudden we have a new arrangement, we got to play it the way it is, and you know, that's a different story. But in auditions, usually you just got to come and lay down the groove and play what needs to be played, and just play time. You know, time is very important, and just make everybody feel comfortable with what you're doing, not overplaying, not, you know, it's not about drum solos, you know, it's not about any of that. It's more about playing for the artist, and also playing what the gig calls for. And you have to be very particular about that, and also tuning drums, you know, having the correct sound, the cymbals, you know, having drumsticks, you know, all those things are very important. Bring your drum key. I mean, you know, you got to have all these, you know, tools that are very important for, you know, to make the gig happen. Playing with clicks, I try to. The click is like my friend, you know, not to be afraid of the click, and just it's like another melody, and you got to kind of like play with it, you know. You got to really try to just know, you got to know the space between the notes, and you know, you got to understand silence, I think, to know the click also. It's very, you know, I think my classical training when I was in high school has given me that understanding of space and silence and bars and music, because that's how you know, like, the flow, you know, of the way the time feels. And when you play the click track, you gotta understand that, you know, and playing timpani and all that stuff, it's a great way of understanding that, because you gotta kind of like give the note its value. So once you know the value of the notes, you can really understand the click. And just take it as another melody. Just got to play with it and not be afraid of it. You can play on top of the beat, you can play behind it. You know, it's just a matter of always understanding where the one is and trying to keep up with the beat. You know, I guess it's something that you have to work on, so it feels natural, so it doesn't feel, you know, hectic or not balanced. But I don't see any particular special trick to working with the click. You just got to do it. Playing arenas, playing like 60,000 people, 100,000 people, doing 20, 12, you know, big stadiums is very different than playing small clubs and playing with trios or quintets. It's very hard for me, to be honest. It's something that takes time, and I need to take time to really try to focus more on the different nuances that you need to focus on when you're playing in big stadiums with a pop artist. It's a totally different focus. Like, you have to play definitely louder, I think. You know, not louder that you're beating yourself, but stronger. And the sound is totally different because you're open in the field, and definitely when you're playing with in-ears, it's a whole different feel. And also the energy you get from playing in a stadium is totally different than the energy you get playing in a club in New York. And even though I miss playing in stadiums, obviously, because you know, all these people in front of you yelling, and just the energy that builds into you once you get on stage, and you're on to put a 2-hour show. It's an amazing feeling. And you're basically the backbeat of the band. The drums are the backbeat, or the heartbeat, the most important. So you really have to you're in control, basically. You're driving. So and when you're playing in a club, you know, it's more intimate, and maybe you're more vulnerable, which is really interesting because people are right in front of you and they're watching your every move, and you really have to be more focused at the details, and really at playing, at listening at it. You got to listen a lot more to what the soloist is playing, to what, you know, to really try to, you know, play with the piano, the bass. You know, it's a whole different thing when you're playing also with acoustic instruments instead of electric guitars or basses. When you're playing with acoustic instruments, you maybe tuning, you know, comes into play. You got to find a higher pitch tuning range so that it fits more into the style of acoustic music, so it doesn't conflict with the frequencies of the bass or the piano or the saxophone. I know there's a lot of drummers out there that would find themselves in the same situation of playing with, you know, playing stadiums and coming to clubs, and, you know, it's a very different situation, and the grip, the way you hold the sticks, how tight, how hard you hit the drums, you know, it's really a whole different experience, and you have to work at it, you know, before you do it, and, you know, to get, you know, at least comfortable with it, with the change. But it's a work in progress. So playing TV shows like Oprah, Ellen, all those late night, early morning shows, basically you're put on the spot and you have to adjust in a matter of seconds. I've had, in my experience, basically they've gotten drums similar to what I use on tour. Usually when I'm on tour, I travel with my own drums. I've been lucky. Not everybody does that, but I've been lucky that with certain artists that I've worked for, they're able to carry all the instruments for everybody, and they carry, you know, my own drum set. But sometimes on TV shows, you don't get to use your own drum set, and you have to adjust. It's very important that you are very adjustable to your environment quickly. Also, if you're used to playing a certain song that is 3 minutes long, then you have only 1:40 or 1:20, and they have to cut the song short. You have to be very aware of that sort of change, like knowing, like, all right, we're gonna cut this verse, we're gonna cut half of this chorus, or, you know, it's very, basically, the way it works is the musical director, we're just talking like musical format, and they'll just cut half of the song, and you just got to be on it. It's very important to focus, and you have to play what's there. You really have no room to create anything in the spot. You just got to play the way it is and just play for the music, and usually a good musical director will make it real easy for you. It's very important to listen to a musical director, but it's also very important to be able to adjust quickly and to make it happen quickly, you know, as quickly as possible. If you have to get up at 3 in the morning to be there at 4, to wait till 6 to do camera, whatever they call it, camera vlog, or I don't know how they call it, but and then they do that, and then you got to go back, and then the show it's at 7:05, and then you got to play, and you're in the middle of Manhattan, and it's 20 degrees outside, and you got to play with a jacket, you know, and then you're trying to, I mean, it's fun. Those are the things that you will never forget. So, once again, I'm Tony Escapa, and make sure you always play the drums. All you drummers out there, don't stop playing the drums, and listen to a lot of music, and just be honest to yourself, and always play from the heart. And because that's what I do, and I think it's the most important, just to be honest and play from the heart, because everybody can appreciate that. And once again, Vater Sticks. Thank you.